Hello everyone, Kurt Olfer here and welcome back to another episode from Home Federal Labs. Today we continue on with the last play of Fiore's Sword in One Hand section, and it's going to prove to be a doozy of one. I personally like this one a lot. I have used this kind of concept quite a bit, and I'll be honest with you, for me it is quite interesting because of how the image looks and also the advice that's given within there. We're going to talk about that extensively right here, and I'm going to turn it over to you, dear viewers, about what are your thoughts on this right here as well. And I think that's going to be, I think this is going to show and prove to be a very interesting play here for us to look at. So with that being the case here, let's take a look here and see what we see. Okay, so this week we're going to be looking at the last play of Fiore's Sword in One Hand section, which is very interesting to me. So first and foremost, a couple of things that he says about this is that it is better to use in armor. He says that if someone strikes at you, whether it be a thrust or any type of blow that comes in, parry it first and then immediately make this action. But the image, as you will see right here, is interesting because of where the opponent's blade is at. Now, this could be just a drawing script of it all, but I'm going to talk about first and foremost what it says contextually, and then I'm going to talk about a few things that I think about this because of how the sword is. So again, we can see here, based upon the image, it appears as though that person has been in that good position and has thrown a backhand shot so that the right foot's forward here, and the blow is going to and through all the way onto the ground that maybe we're setting up here to this spot, right? That's all that we do know about this. On my side, the guy looks like, I don't know, something out of The Hobbit, really low like this right here. It could just mean that the person's getting small here, trying to get behind the sword as much as possible. It appears to me that they're utilizing a thumb alignment so that the thumbs are both going towards the tip. I don't think it really matters here. Ultimately right here, just get yourself into an armored sword or a shortened sword grip. So off of this, if he is making a fendente on this right here, I can make the covering mechanism into this and push it right down into this. So that is one variant here that I think may be what he is saying. There's plenty of interpretations that have shown this out there. Ultimately right here, as they cross, I stop it mid-flight, boom, grab the point, and then I can turn this right into his body and find the point that's on him. But that doesn't make the image. And again, I'm going to keep pointing this out here. These are things right here to consider. If he strikes from the other side, here, I can still come across into the body. But now, once again, it doesn't make the image. Up to this point, you know I am not an image stickler. However, I have a thought about this because essentially if the person is thrusting, parry first, then make this shortened sword grip. Those are factors that I think must be looked at contextually. If he thrusts at me, and again, I'm in this position, but it doesn't make the image. Not a big problem, not a problem at all. If he is over on this side and he throws a backhand shot at me like this. So it looks like this, right? I can still make this, but still it does not make the image. So I say that right here because ultimately, personally, I like that a lot better than what I'm about to suggest right here because of how the image looks anatomically. And I think it actually has to do a lot more about movement and what the Germans, in German systems, they might call Nachreisen, is to avoid a blow and then to move into something, than it is just to do this right here. Because again, that almost breaks every sequence of thought process so far that I think that Fiore is saying, which is to cover a blow, contain the blow, and then move in with a strike. So, to be clear, my thoughts are, I do agree with what I've seen many people do out there, where blow comes in, doesn't matter, cover this, and then shift right into here, utilizing that leverage to get you that sword into that armored sword grip. Which, by the way, goes into other plays about the shortened point later on. I do agree with that. Parry it, and in that parry, in that coverta, that cover, I either bind with it, then grab, then shift, right? Or, from this side, I can cover with a beat and then move in. Both ways right there, it doesn't matter. He's just saying, make the cover, and the cover can, once again, be binding or breaking, depending on how you strike it, edge against flat or edge against edge. Now we're going to talk about what I observe right here, and I kind of wonder, and I'm going to ask you, please, dear viewers, please share your thoughts out there. Again, this seems very risky to me. However, because he says it is better to do this in armor, I kind of wonder if this is what he's trying to say. So let's make the image first and foremost. I'm going to make the cutter here. Just assume the position right here. He's right here. The sword is offline right here, and this is what we see. The sword is in front of the lead leg, and right here I have my left leg forward. The guy's very low to the ground. Whether it's a lunge or maybe he's going low like this right here, it doesn't necessarily matter right here. We have to forgive the drawing of the time. The message is what's clear. The message is what's important, and that's what I'm trying to get here on. What I wonder about this right here is, as he strikes in nice and slow, he doesn't have that big shot that's coming right to my head, right? To come across right here, step in, and then put myself right here. This is very similar to what we'd see within a Vera Croce concept where he pops gather and come in. But here I have myself in the sword in one hand position and stick across. Now he's not changing his trajectory. He has his line right here to strike the neck. We're constraining his face here. Shape over just a little bit. Put it back. Perfect. As he goes. Again, blade is on this side. I'm in a lower line position right here, and I have the sword able to stick him. I'm on the inside. That is what I kind of wonder if he is trying to talk about. And again, I ask you, please, dear viewers, give me your thoughts on that. I'll say that in the closing portions as well. How to make this, if I'm coming across and that's my shot, he has a window of opportunity to turn again. So if he turns against us, it makes a half sword. That makes sense, but it doesn't make the image. So if he goes underneath the blow, now we're here on this position. The thing about this too that I really like is that just because I'm in a half sword, it doesn't mean that I can't stop this blow from coming in. So if I strike in at him, he comes off line here, and he comes up with here into the guts. His hand is free. If his hand was in the other grip, he has to roll off this way. It doesn't matter, but he still can put his hand off to the side and stop my blow from coming up. So that's the part about this right here that, again, works in concert with it. So if he strikes it at me here, and he comes up with it again, I can stop this. I can turn this. By the way, I've got myself all into the place, already again into that sword in one hand position we've had in the very beginning. Again, to recap all the options right here. First one, parry, whether it be binding or breaking. Doesn't matter, we're just going to do the overhand blow here on both sides of the fendente, but you've already seen the same thing can be done with the thrust. If he throws a backhand shot, cover, and turn this into his body, I've got this right here. And again, that's where we have ourselves going into this. If he throws a Mandrito side, he throws, boom, I help him along that way, and again, I put myself right here in this position. And then the final one that we have right here is, if he pops in with that shot, come across this way. If he tries to return, I have the spot right here. I can hit the groin area. The reality is, if I'm goring into the guts, I'm probably already going to have everything right here that I need to in order to control him. And that right there is the last play of the sword in one hand section here. Again, please take a second. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It's hard to know what is being said right here. Again, he says to parry and then to make this shape right here. He says it's better to do in armor. But the picture is the part right here that is very curious to me. And because in the very beginning, like I said, this right here is what I think he's trying to say as far as the strike is concerned, because it makes a very powerful blow. It puts myself right in that position as the guy is standing right here and the guy on the inside of the line. All that consideration right here is what I think about is happening based off of that image and what he is trying to do here.
So you can see with the video here that, again, this is kind of an interesting play. The image shows, again, a guy who looks like he's finished that backhand extension from a fendente at somebody, and the blade is on the outside of the body, whereas the person's in a half sword. And I made, again, he's in this very short position here, and almost looks like a little hobbit going against, a man or something like that. Kind of funny as a joke. The part that's interesting about this is, again, and as I've stated before, I'm not a big stickler of the image because I don't think the maestro is going to sit there and, and say, no, it's got to be exactly the image right here. These are concepts that we build off of. But I find it very interesting about how he says to make the parry and then to make this thrust, this two-handed thrust into a person before it actually, but then the blade is past them. A couple things that, additional pieces that came about all of this is, something that Connor had brought up, after filming of all this was, maybe when he says to make the parry of the thrust or the cut, they thrust or cut at you and then parry that. Maybe what they're saying there is that your armor does that. As the advice says that, this is better done with an armor. If we're utilizing a void and thrust in, you are parrying the blow that comes afterwards and then sticking them with the thrust. Maybe that could be something. Another thing I thought about here is like as I void that's passed and I put that thrust in there, it doesn't stop me from, because I can let go of my lead hand, it doesn't stop me from parrying, with my offhand, the blow in the arm that's possibly coming straight back up at me. So I found those very interesting right here as far as terms are concerned. A final consideration that I have with this is that not necessarily, maybe Fiore's concept right here is that, again, off of this, you're going to get what you have, and that by utilizing this right here, you can drive in closer, which may make it so that you don't necessarily have to, the blade is now beyond those spaces. So, in this case right here, it could be very much so that the sword is off, beyond the person because the person's in closer. They're lower, they're closer, they're a lot more extreme into a fight capacity there. We don't know. But regardless of this, there are two variances of which I've seen. One is the one that I see typically that's depicted out there, which I would advise to people, which is cover with this and then turn down. But that's not the advice that he says within the manuscript. Instead, he says, make this parry, parry and then strike with this position. But the image shows, in many ways here, what I think is to get around and to stick inside, to get around the blow, and to move in with that. So just food for thought on that. I'm really kind of curious. Like I said this in the video, and I don't usually do it there. I usually do it here. But I thought it was very important to put it there. I'm very curious to hear what people think on this. So please, dear viewers, drop what you think in the comments below. Like, what might be the thing that he's trying to say to us on this? What are the depictions out here that would make sense to you? Again, to me, it makes a lot more sense to make the cover first and then to turn the sword back into a thrusting position, which I see plenty of depictions out there from people in modern day that are trying to extrapolate what this is. I like that. It makes a lot of sense, and it keeps things into the context of what Fiore is, which is to constrain on an opponent out there before you maintain your line and by sticking them. But it wouldn't surprise me also if he's saying to get around and to move in to the blow. So again, like to hear your thoughts on that. So that's going to do it for the video here. So thank you so much for stopping by here. To my viewers and subscribers, I appreciate you here, and I really appreciate the time that you take here to look at this and also to put your thoughts into it. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the bell and like and subscribe and share with a friend out there. Want to grow this channel, and that's not possible without viewers like you. So please enjoy having you here and join us on this adventure here with the 14th century arms of Fiore's Armitsari. With that being the case, everybody, as always, please stay safe out there, train well, and fight on. I'll see you all soon.